I'm Christian.
And I'm Imani.
And welcome to the Exactly podcast.
This is our first podcast. Oh my God.
It is. This is our first episode, guys.
Maybe
this has been, what?
Like a little intro.
Yeah, I guess we could do a little intro.
Yeah, talk about, how we got here. Me and my good sis are besties.
Yes.
And we love to yap. And
yapping professionals.
Literally professional yappers. Like we need it tattooed. We need like a certificate.
A brand.
A brand.
A yap brand.
This is a true story. I had to delete our thread off of my phone, because it was so much storage from the voice notes that we were sending
crashing
back and forth. Because we like to.
The phone was crashing.
It literally crashed my phone.
So these are going to be conversations for yappers. Women who are yappers, and having the types of conversations that are meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Having types of conversations that inspire us to think differently and feel differently. I think that's been something that we've always been really, really good at, having we have therapy conversations. Our conversations are therapy-esque. So we're going to bring those conversations to you guys in podcast and in video form, and we'll be able to answer you guys' questions, give you guys advice, talk about stories that are going on, and just give you guys a little bit of everything. This is all about liberating women and educating women, and giving women resources and new tools to just take control over their lives and take power of their minds.
100%.
So in this video, in this episode, we're going to be talking specifically about Canon events and how these things affect us, and basically just how we should operate navigating through Canon events, and from the outside looking in, what the perception of those types of events can be.
Exactly. And to start off with our first Canon event, there's a trending video right now. At the time that we're filming this, it might be a couple of weeks old, but y'all will know what I'm talking about. There was a woman, it was her 30th birthday. She was talking about how excited she was that she planned herself a trip to Paris.
Yes.
And then she uploaded a video, which unfortunately she deleted, which kind of lets you know the type of feedback that she got back from her audience. I don't think it landed the intended way that she wanted it to land.
Yeah.
Essentially, she was sitting on her couch. She kind of panned the camera to her boyfriend. We didn't even get to see his whole face. So what does that say?
We don't know what he's giving.
We don't even know what it's giving. Is it giving, I'd rather do this than Paris?
We don't know.
Have to see. We don't know. He hands her an iced coffee, and she says that, even though her whole life she had been wanting to go to Paris, she had dreamed about spending her 30th birthday in Paris, that she felt fulfilled enough in that moment, sitting on the couch, drinking coffee with her then boyfriend, current boyfriend. And, and the comments were not on your side. One thing about them comments, they are not.
They are very unforgiving. They're very unforgiving. And I feel like we see so many women having these Canon events in front of everybody.
We just have to let it
happen. Even with Krishan and Blueface, which is probably the worst example, the most extreme example.
Yeah, want to talk about it.
But we see so many couples crash and burn. Crash out culture is at an all-time high. Yeah. And we see people, taking down their pages, making a new page, literally. I think that, of course, if you say anything online, people are going to put their feedback in.
Right.
But I think a lot of times people just don't realize it's never going to land, one, how they think it's going to, of course. But also, two, they don't realize how crazy or how weird or
something
how strange or how off-putting something may be when it's from the outside looking in. Even when we see mothers all the time when they're like, oh, my husband finally did this, or oh, I finally was able to do this. It's like, girl, should you really be happy about that? Is this really a victory?
Yeah, there's a whole internet culture, specifically on TikTok, where women who are in situations that I feel like they feel some sort of underlying shame about, they come to the internet hoping to get either some reassurance from women to either reaffirm that kind of icky feeling that they may have about a situation, or they may come to get some sort of support from women who may share similar situations with them. And I've seen it go one of two ways. I've seen people come to the internet with a story. The most recent one, this woman was posting about how she had recently, a few years ago, lost a whole lot of weight. She had a lot of extra skin on her body. She did the work to get the surgery to get the skin removed, and that she was just now in a place where she was feeling comfortable with her body. She was dating a guy who was making her feel, beautiful and loved and all that. Yeah. And then one day they were laying down. She had, they had just had fun time. And he said, have you ever thought about doing something to your butt?
Like surgery to get it done?
To get it done. Okay. Mind you, she's gone through all of this hard work to lose all this weight. Yeah. She has these scars and stuff because she just had this surgery to remove the excess skin that she had, and she came to the internet at that moment not saying what she was going to do about the situation, but she came back on my timeline a couple of days later, and the comments were, again, not on her side, but in a good way. They were telling her, like, girl, that's not the type of man you need. Anybody that in your literal most naked, vulnerable moment who's going to comment on your body in a negative way, knowing the history that you have with your body, is not the man for you. And you know what she did? She dumped that man.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. I'm not mad at that.
Handle business.
I think getting a new perspective can really be good because we know that love is bliss and makes you delusional, and being in a love bubble for so long and accepting something for so long can make it seem normal. And I think sometimes it just becomes people's normal.
Sometimes you need that outside perspective.
From the outside looking in, it's like, we got to say something. Because what you got going on is...
It's not right.
Yeah.
But then there's been other stories where I've seen stories worse than, like... And it's crazy how, like, misogynistic and crazy the world has gotten, because that was one of the more mild situations. I heard of a partner doing something that was offensive. It was still offensive, but...
That's nothing
TikTok,
compared
it was mild.
Yeah.
I've seen stories where it's way worse. And the woman comes to the internet, tells us like this horrendous story. He's like, oh, he beat me. He dropped my kid off at a gas station and I have no idea where. Like something very crazy and unforgivable. And then a few days later, I'll see the same woman on my timeline basically copping pleas and telling us, you don't know him. He's a great man. You can't tell me to leave. And it's like, but you just told me he dropped your son off
just like
3 hours ago in the middle of nowhere.
It's going to go one or two ways.
So, you know,
We're
never
see
really know.
People, do something different
with these events.
Or we'll realize, oh, this is your normal. This is what you usually do. You know, and something similar. I'm working in, a lot of these nonprofit spaces now, and, one nonprofit organization that I'm working with, it's all about, helping older people lose weight. And they have a 100% success rating with this. So every older person that's joined has lost weight.
That's awesome.
One lady has lost over 100 pounds. Her husband has always liked bigger women. And still to this day, he will wake her up with Taco Bell, fried chicken. When she was on her weight loss journey, he would wake her up like first thing in the morning. And I was like, that's low-key psychological torture. Like doing stuff like that to people. And, that might just become your norm. You might not feel like that's a big enough red flag. And I think the whole point of a Canon event is that from the outside looking in, we know that this is your Canon event. We know that this is the moment when you should be like, you know what, I need to do something differently here. This really isn't giving. And unfortunately, we also say that everybody has a breaking point. So we also might see people go through multiple Canon events and we're like, okay, when is it going to be enough? When are they going to, realize that this is, too much? And even, in general, we see so much baby mama drama and relationship drama and mess with these rappers and with these women online, It's like, is it a Canon event, or is this just, I feel like Canon event is low-key kind of becoming synonymous with just how the dating pool is. It's like every freaking relationship is a Canon event. Get ready for a Canon event. You're either going to find a person or get ready for some character development that you're not, prepared for. And it's on, the internet for everybody to see and everybody to comment on. And most people, I feel like they just secretly hide everything away. Most people. And if they're going to make a change, then they're bold with it. And if they're not, then they're like, y'all need to get out my household. You need to get out my marriage. You're not even married. You don't even have no children with anybody. Like, it's like, hold on, now we're the enemies?
Okay. And you brought to us. This is the thing with these stories, right?
Y'all stress us out
for nothing. You put me in your business. I do nothing of this, okay? You put me here, seriously. And you asked for my opinion, not me specifically, but you asked the internet what we think, and the internet gave you the opinion.
And in that moment, you were ready for that. In that moment, you wanted us to go at your partner because maybe you felt like they were really in the wrong.
And that's the tea. Clock that. A lot of the times when people come on the internet and tell these specific stories, they just want to show, and I've seen women literally say this, they want to show the man what people are saying about them in hopes that it'll get them to change their behavior, and it likely will not.
Literally, it's like putting a dog's face in its poo. You can try that a few times if you want to. You can try that a few times, but eventually that's not going to work.
Exactly.
You can't discipline or embarrass anybody.
No.
And I mean, why would you think somebody cares about embarrassment when you've been embarrassed first? They embarrassed you. So clearly, I mean, you can try to put them on Front Street, but it's already been done.
Exactly.
You're not going to get the results that you want. It's not going to happen. And even as friends, this is what I was thinking about. we a lot of times have to sit by and watch our friends go through a lot of Canon events over and over and over again. And when you're watching online, it's messy, it's a cackle, it's a kiki. But when it's your friend, it's draining. Yeah. It's stressful.
And it's hard
You want your friend to break free.
Yeah.
You want them to get it together, you know? So it's a fine line between giving somebody that advice and also being like, okay, hindsight is 20/20. You'll realize this later down the line. Now, if I'm there with you to hold your hand in this realization, that's going to be something different. Maybe I'll be able to be there. When I say this, I'll let you know. We knew he wasn't good for you 5 years ago, girl. We knew then. Yeah. You know? And it's like, all of these so obvious moments that we just, you know, glide past. Yeah. But, you know, I don't know if that's an option anymore now with the social media stuff. Like, even with relationship channels, like, you know, Queen and Clarence.
I don't think we should do those relationship channels.
We don't need to get into it too
Family
bad.
channels as well. That's
family channels, but it's literally Canon event after Canon event after Canon event.
And it's all on display for us to see. And that's the next step. So when you have a Canon event in your life, how do you tolerate it? Like, how do you shake back? How do you
in the
decide? In the ruin. Yeah. And do you use that situation to propel your healing forward? Do you use that situation as a learning point, or do you just kind of get into the same patterns over and over again? And that's on the person to decide. You know, we can look at a situation and say, like, girl, this is going to be something you regret forever. Yeah. Like the situation that we're talking about right here with the woman in Paris. It's like, you can feel fulfilled in this moment staying on this couch, but in 10 years, are you going to look back on that moment and be like, staying home was the right thing to do? And or are you going to regret it?
When we see people making the mistakes that we've made, like when we see younger women who are dating older men, like women that are like in their early 20s, they're getting swindled by these older men, and then it's like, girl, we've been there, done that, we've been preyed on, we've been groomed, you know, like sometimes, you know, that's what you have to do sometimes. You have to just recognize, okay, this is this person's. And that's always a Canon event. Like a young woman being taken advantage of, unfortunately it sucks, but just like having bad friends or having bad partners is something that a lot of times you go through. A lot of times you just have to be on the outside looking in, you know, in situations like that, because you know how they think in that space, because you know how you felt when you were in that space.
And sometimes you just need, and we're all different, right? But there's sometimes where you just need to go through that one last thing that finally drills it in your mind.
And hopefully it's the one time.
Yeah, you don't want to have to go through the same thing over and over and over again.
Because I hate when we see, like, it sucks so bad when you see somebody, and I feel like people do this all the time when they're like, oh, she gonna get it together now, y'all. She gonna be done now, y'all.
And
like, people will be in the comments like, this is gonna be it, this is gonna be it. Like, they did it with Cardi B and Offset. They did it with all of these, you know, couples that's back and forth.
And Krishan and Blueface are married now, allegedly. Did you hear
that?
Allegedly they got freaking married.
You know, so it's like, girl, there's really no extent to the Canon event in certain spaces, and unfortunately now we're just fed this kind of stuff over and over and over again. And I think I always love to be able to give props to people that make that full circle moment, and you're able to be like, you know what, you were acting crazy, you were young, you weren't in that right mode, and now you're able to shake back and, you know, we're able to see you become a woman. Exactly. We're able to see you shake back and do something different and take accountability.
Exactly.
And learn from it instead of dragging everybody in the comments. We are rooting for you. We are rooting for the girls. We are rooting for the girls in their 20s. Yes. We are rooting for you. We want you to get it together. We want you to wake up and smell the flowers. You know, even if it's a drag every step of the way. Yeah. That's just what it is. It's a drag.
Exactly. So what are some things that you can do to try to avoid these Canon events in your lifestyle? Because we're not trying to see the young girls out here in every relationship going from doom, gloom to more doom to bigger doom to the biggest doom. Yeah. We want y'all to be making healthy decisions with your relationships. And it's important that you check in with yourself before making any big relationship decisions. You have to ask yourself, is it for you or is it for somebody else? Are you abandoning yourself or are you honoring yourself? And those are things you have to check in and tap in with along the way. If you feel a little twinge in your heart, you know, if you have that little unsettled feeling in your stomach before you do something, listen to that. Don't do it. I went years not trusting myself and wasted so much time in relationships and community with people also who did not benefit my life, had nothing to do with helping me be a better woman or putting me in a better position, anything. It was just people who, you know, sucked the damn life out of me, to be honest. And I knew that very early on, and I ignored that because I didn't trust myself. So it's really important that ladies these days check in with yourself and honor yourself above all else, because at the end of the day, when you lay down at night, even if it's somebody next to you in it, you ain't got nobody but yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
And you have to hold your own hand through these Canon events.
Hello.
Because even if you do decide to stay with this person or whatever you're going to do, the Canon event is not just about them. I mean, it's not just about you, it's about them too.
Right.
It's not just about you deciding that you want to be different. Mm-hmm. They have to do the same thing as well.
Exactly.
They have to figure it out too. And asking yourself those questions, I guarantee you that there's a lot of people whose partners have never asked themselves, why do I do this?
Right.
Am I acting like I love this person even though I say this?
No.
Why is all of my relationship, why is this happening this way? That
Check
self-awareness, that
in.
key,
Yeah.
you have to be able to do that for yourself. And once you start doing that, it is so obvious when other people aren't doing that.
Yeah.
It's obvious when people are not asking themselves, is this the right thing to do?
Right.
Who am I hurting in this moment?
Right.
So, of course, you want to make sure you're always tapping in with yourself because it's all about you anyway. It's not about if people validate it. It's not about if the people in your circle think it's important. It's not about if people think you're selfish or any of that. You have to listen to what your body is telling you.
Yeah.
And as you make those decisions, you'll be able to connect with people that your body won't be telling you to run away from. You'll be able to really be comfortable in those spaces and be like, okay, I'm so glad I started making those decisions because I never have to be in that space again.
Exactly.
We want a 1 Canon event limit.
Okay.
You go through that same Canon event.
Two
Two tops. After that, you should not be in that same space.
Exactly.
You cannot be in that Canon event over and over and over again because it, like you mentioned, you're in doom and gloom. And doom and gloom, it affects your body, it affects your mind, it affects how you see yourself and how you see the world. And we never want those types of things to determine how we feel about ourselves and our future.
Exactly. It's all about finding the balance, ladies. It's okay if you are a lover girl. You know what? If you want to be a lover girl, God bless.
Yes.
But don't forget about yourself. You gotta love yourself.
The lover girl starts with loving you.
Exactly.
You're the lover girl for you first.
Okay? Honor yourself. Honor, you can honor your partner if you must. But honor yourself first.
Honor your partner if your partner's honoring you.
Hello.
Do not fight, for your life for a friend, a partner, anybody that isn't giving it to you, even if it means that you cut them off and they don't have anybody.
Exactly.
Even if it means that if you leave them alone, they're going to be left by themselves. Like a lover girl, you have to love who loves you.
Exactly.
You have to pour into who pours into you. If not, then you'll be a bitter girl.
Exactly.
Very quick. You'll have a few seasons of lover girl before you're like, you know what, fuck this, fuck love, fuck people. And you don't want to become that type of person. You want to be in the type of space where you decide how you want to move forward in relationships. Not your pain, not your past that hasn't been dealt with, not people manipulating you. You want to be in full control.
100%.
And when people show you stuff,
believe
it, embarrass you
the first time.
Believe it. You know what I'm saying? If you need to see it again, ask for a sign and see it again, and then do something about it.
Okay.
But don't push yourself and force yourself to be in Canon event after Canon event when you always have the opportunity to say, you know what, this is enough. I'm gonna do something different in this space.
Exactly. Just be aware and know what you want. Know what's good for you. Know what feels like it's in alignment, and your body will let you know when you're out of alignment. If you have supportive people in your life, they will let you know when you're out of alignment.
Yes,
so
and trust it.
Yes, and trust it. You'll know when that moment is coming up, and save yourself the drama, the tears, the struggle, and avoid it.
Yes.
So, any final thoughts you want to leave these people with? Leave our lovely ladies with?
1 Canon event per Canon event.
Per lifetime.
1 Canon event per lifetime. 2 max.
Yes.
Do not learn the same lesson more than once.
Check in with yourself.
Yes. Check in with yourself.
Listen to your body. Okay?
Ask the right questions.
Ask the right questions. A lot of this stuff can show up as anxiety and depression. I literally thought I had the most severe anxiety of all time. Surprise!
Yeah.
It was these. Can I say that word?
Yeah.
It was these niggas. That's who it was.
Seriously.
The niggas was the anxiety.
You'll be like, do I have insomnia? Do I have PCOS? Do I have a hormonal imbalance?
It's the niggas.
Do I have stress-induced fibroids?
It's that niggas.
Especially for women of color.
Hello.
Come in closer when we tell you this. So many things that we deal with in our body and our minds are directly related to inconsistencies in our emotions and in our spirits. So this stuff is literally affecting us from the inside out. Even if we want to ignore it and act like we're just happy to have somebody, it's affecting us from the inside out. So you can't ignore these things. You want to listen to what you need and give yourself those things by any means necessary.
Yes. All right, ladies, drop in the comments. Tell us about your Canon event. We all have one.
And if you're in a Canon event right now, let us know.
Okay.
We'll help you through.
Okay.
We'll help you through.
Okay. Thoughts and prayers. All right, ladies, we're signing off. And remember to listen to your gut because you know exactly what you need. Period.